Now there's something about iron sharpens iron. Proverbs 27:17, and one of the translations says, as iron sharpens iron, so the friends of each other sharpen each other's mind. And boy, that's real TNI. Something about sharpening each other's minds. And here we've been talking about elevating your business, whether it's in business or not, into another category of a high-level scale. Now, I'm going to get you to realise something. Research tells us the quickest way to change your physiology, that's your body, is to do something physical. It clicks in and it changes immediately. Here's some interesting statements. Changing your emotional state is not a passive process. It requires immediate physical action. The path to success is to take massive, determined action. Learning how to control your focus and physiology empowers you to manage your state. And the quickest way to change your present state is to action and change your physiology. So what that means is, please stand to your feet. Please stand to your feet. I want you to do something physically just for a minute there. I want you to imagine yourself being happy, strong, and feeling good. Now, is your head up or down when you're feeling like that? Up, all right. All right. Is your face happy or sad? It's happy, all right. If you're in that state there. All right. Are your shoulders up or back? Up, all right there. Now, change the mode for a minute to feeling sad and depressed and discouraged. Head up or down? Down. Right. Put your down. All right. All right. There is your shoulders feeling forward or backwards? Forward. If you're moving, slow or fast? Slow. All right. Now, please give me a happy face. Oh, I like that. Yeah, happy face is looking good. Some people, it's a crack in the surface. But nevertheless, now, give me a depressed, sad face. Okay. Now, 4 decisions you've just made. And they're all chosen and changed you physically for a moment, momentarily. And you control that switch. The amazing thing is, we often don't realise when we're sad, emotionally, our body picks it up very quickly. Head down, shoulders down, or face up, skipping a step, feeling slow. So physically, the way you start the day or throughout the day is critical, and you make the choice. So those who've been here before, let's have the, I want us to do our alive and well, and I feel great. Because this is one that one of the business groups around the world called the SWAP Club, Salespeople with a Purpose, start every meeting they have around the world weekly with I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great. 3 times, every meeting, business around the world from the States through to New Zealand. And so physically, it does something. You come in depressed and discouraged. So we're going to do it together 3 times in a life. Now, let's really, I know you're sitting on some fried rice or whatever you're sitting on there. Fried rice needs a bit of movement. Okay, so it's going to be I'm alive, I'm well, and then but I feel great. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, how do you feel?
I'm alive, I'm well, I feel great.
I'm alive, I'm well,
I feel great.
I'm alive, I'm well,
I feel great.
Give yourself a hand. Now imagine any sports group, before they go out onto the field, the coach is there to get them moved before they go to the field. You win before you play. You win before you play. The way you start the day is going to be greatly dependent upon how you start the day. And so what to me is, why today for these few minutes, and Dr. Tan invited me to speak some months ago for this day. I've been working on this message, going over it for the last couple of months, and I've been so enjoying it. So much powerful dynamics in it. It really is. And so that's what I want to speak on. Activating your God-given proactive priorities. Wow, that says quite a mouthful. Well, let's have a little look here. 3 types of people. They're the proactive. They make things happen. Reactive. They wait for things to happen. And then the inactive, they wonder what happened. Now, everybody fits in these categories, If you've got staff, you interview people, and of course you want performance, and it all depends upon how they turn their skill into action. And so whether you get into the proactive, and the more you study the Bible, you find God designed us to be proactive. So, proactive or reactive? Whether you're married, single, or in business, this is over to you as you start every God-given day. Now look at this for a minute. Proactive. Take the initiative. Make things happen. Ready for something to happen. Think about the future. Focus on things they can control. So this person is making determined action. If you are a proactive person, you make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. Notice that. Many people are slow, or that's me. But the choice is what you switch on. That's why Dr. Tom, I call him my DIN man. Do it now. Most people are DIT, do it tomorrow. And ever since I met texting, I had 27, 28 years ago, and also worked in this company for establishing, working together with him there, you realize that so many people, so many companies want to get hold of texting Tom. Why? Because he does things. He makes things happen. I've been driving with him in the car, we're chatting away, next minute he's chatting on his headphones here, he's doing something already on the phone while we're traveling along the road there. DNI, do, right, it's a key area, do it now. And when you look at this, you say, that's not me particularly. The wonderful thing about it is you can establish and program this in. Now, reactive. Showing reaction is usually in a negative way. Reacting rather than taking the initiative and responding in a reactionary way. Now, you know some people that are programmed like that. They react. They're negative anyway. Sometimes when my wife we'd chat with somebody, and we heard about the person talking negative, and she'd lean over to me in my ear and say, NMA, negative mental attitude. And so a lot of people are programmed that way. Boy, the big thing is getting that into the right gear. So just for a minute, let's have a look. They take responsibility for their lives. They blame others or things. They make things happen. Let things happen. Take control of their life. Other people control their life. They choose their attitude, allow circumstances to determine their attitude. Boy, that's so true. They're in the driver's seat. They are just a passenger. They think before they act, and they act before they think. Now, look at yourselves. You might see some aspects of where you lock in, or realizing that proactive choices are based on values. What you believe, what your value system is. And on the other side is their choices are based on impulse. Something happens and they react. So it's a different perspective. Proactive language adds power to you. You soon meet, the moment you meet somebody, by the way, you meet somebody within 60 seconds, you up here say, I like, I don't like. Within approximately 60 seconds, you meet somebody for the first time, I like, I don't like. You don't tell them that. But we react very quickly, and one of the biggest factors is often their words. Reactive language takes power away from you, drains you both initially and physically as well and emotionally. So they take control, they're not easily offended, take responsibility for their choices. This is such a powerful little format as we go into this. Think before they act, and they bounce back quickly. My stepdaughter in New Zealand, she's in real estate, I call her my bounce back girl. Something happens, Dad, something at work today, I realize, and she always bounces back. And this is one of the big areas why in the business world, the word resilience is a major word today. Resilience, bounce back. Business goes down, a bankruptcy there, something hits you hard, but they bounce back. And that comes from within the spirit. They always find a way to make things happen. Focus on things they can do something about. Now, don't worry about things they can't. So, look carefully. Being proactive requires two strategic things. Taking responsibility. So many times in court cases, legal and so on, I am not responsible. I got drunk. Or you don't know who I'm married to. They don't take responsibility. But they do take it when you realize the significance. And they develop a positive can-do attitude. I know that. So think of a thermometer, right? Can-do people take initiative. No can, wait for something to happen. think about solutions and options, and they think about problems and barriers, and they act, and they're acted upon. Here's a neat little summary. Look at this in regard to your own life, in regard to how you program yourself. When you are reactive, whether it be in a marriage, whether it be in business, or a customer, or a client, or a patient, when you're reactive, it's like giving somebody else the remote control to your life. And they play whatever they like. But when you use proactive language, you put the remote control back into your hands, and you are then free to choose whatever channel you want to be on. You control the situation. You don't let the circumstance control the situation. Here is the Matthew 7:12 is the golden rule. But look at the translation of this one in the Message. Here is a simple rule of thumb guide for behavior. Ask yourself what you want people to do for you, then grab the initiative and do it for them. Hey, isn't that a fabulous one of the golden rule? Grab the initiative and do it for them there. Now, there's really only one main thing you can control. It's how you respond to what happens to you. You say, look, I call a spade, or whatever. However you react, it's your response. They say life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you respond to happen. And that's where the challenging format comes. Here's what we call the circle of no control. Parents, by the way, how many of you here were the firstborn in your family? Firstborn in the family? God bless you. You were an experiment. If you were the firstborn, you were an experiment. Your parents had never had any kids before, and they checked it and worked it out on you.
It was a prototype.
Is it what?
Prototype.
I like that. A prototype there. And never been the same since. So, no control. Parents, colour of your skin, your past, where you were born, the weather, traffic, abusive situations. Those basically are out of control, out of your. But here's the fascinating challenge. Here's the circle of control. You choose your responses, you choose the attitudes. This is a big switch, because now it switches from the outward circumstances to the inward ones. A lot of people feel very much these days like victims, easily offended, blame others, get angry easily, say things they later regret, they whine and complain, wait for things to happen. I guarantee you know somebody like that, because there are many of them about today. They can be highly qualified, highly educated, but their lifestyle is in that area. Change only when they have to. So if you are a reactive person, you'll respond on your impulses and let things happen. Interesting, the habits of a highly effective person or people by the well-known Stephen Covey, in this well-known book, the top of his 7 habits says, be proactive. This is where things get done. He also said, you have to decide what your highest priorities are and have the courage, pleasantly, smilingly, non-apologetically, to say no to other things. And the way to do that is by having a bigger yes burning inside, and the enemy of the best is often the good. So here's the switch. And that's what makes the difference. Choosing to be a proactive person, and starts the beginning of the day. Fascinating case study. Priority job list. When he was president of the United States Steel Corporation back in the 1930s, Charles Schwab was approached by Ivy Lee, a management consultant. He declined to hire him, saying, I've been in the steel business all my life. What can you tell me I don't already know? Pretty arrogant attitude. But Ivy Lee persisted, and Schwab agreed that he could watch him at work and send in a report, and he'd pay him what he thought his report was worth. That's a pretty cunning way to go about it, and he accepted. So for 24 hours, after just one day of observing Charles Schwab at work, jumping from crisis to crisis, and being available to everyone and always interrupted, when he attempted to think about his work, Ivy Lee set out a daily priority job list. And he explained how Schwab could double his productivity and effectiveness by using it. That was quite a challenge. He used it, and he did. Being a man of his word, the president of the United States Corporation, Steel Corporation, sent him a check for $25,000, and that goes back nearly 100 years, with a note saying it was worth every penny. Wow. Try it yourself for free. Now, what was this priority? Simply something that you're all involved in here. Most of you here have done a lot of electronic goal-setting programs, priority things. They're loaded on the internet and training courses. The simplicity of this is so powerful, is prioritizing every task from one down and not going off number one until you've completed it. Now, that's simple. But the factor is, take it for instance here. Right. Priority task, complete the time presentation, date. Attitude Success Magazine article, date. Wife's birthday present, be careful, make sure. Like that. Wednesday, pay phone account, date. Now, simply prioritizing the night before during the day, business, privately or corporately there, you're prioritizing. And the simplicity of keeping on number one, where we often jump from 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and this is where crisis management will squash you, energize you, de-energize, and indeed stress you greatly. Now, this is what I printed out. For myself, simplicity, beside all the complicated setting goal ones, we should make plans counting on God to direct us. Don't wait for the ship to come in and swim out to it. I love it. Nothing happens unless you make it happen. Now that printout up there, I bought a copy here, and I'm going to leave them up the front here afterwards. And if you'd like a copy of that one, the simplicity and the power of that is incredibly significant. So I've printed a copy off here, and if you'd like a copy of that, then and work on it, it can dramatically change the efficiency of your lifestyle from personal, private, and corporate. By the way, you always find time for what you want to do. Think about that, it's true. No one is too busy in this world. It's all about priorities. Now, as a Christian, most of you here are, what is one of the priorities that you know of scripture from the Bible? A priority. I don't know, pastors, leaders here, but any priorities that come to your mind from the Bible?
Not
All the right hearts, good. All right, 1927, good. Any others? Priorities, things you should do first. Just one at a time now, one at a time. Okay, well, down here is one of the biggest challenges, as Marcus was referring to before. Christian, Sunday, Monday. Private, business. There's no, by the way, there's no such thing as full-time ministry. I had pastoral teaching back a few years ago. All right, so we moved into the full-time ministry. Every Christian is a full-time ministry. In other words, it's a full-time job. Regardless of where you work, that's just your role. So let's have a look at some here. Seek first the kingdom of God. Now, there's a priority. Let's make it real. When you woke up this morning, what was your first priority thought? Internet? Phone? All right? Breakfast? Or was it prayer? Or was it asking God, Lord, I hand the day over to you? Seek, aim at, strive after, first of all, His kingdom and His righteousness, His way of doing and being right. Then all these things taken together will be given to you besides. One translation, but more than anything else, put God first and do what He wants, then the other things will be yours as well. And the translation, the Passion, oh, look at this. So above all, Gerald, constantly chase after the realm of God's kingdom and the righteousness that proceeds from Him. Then all these less important things will be given to you abundantly. So the real prioritizing, if we're going to be really walking in God's program. I love this. Amplified here. The Lord has given me the tongue of a disciple, one who is taught that I should know how to speak a word in season to him who is weary. Look, He wakens me morning by morning. He wakens my ear to hear as a disciple, as one who is taught. My question, did you hear His ear this morning? Because He wanted to, but we've got to be awake and ready. Proverbs 8:33. Listen to my counsel. My instruction will enlighten you. You'll be not wise not to ignore it. If you wait at wisdom's doorway, look, longing to hear a word for every day. Joy will break forth within you as you listen for what to say. I was in the gym this morning. I was looking in the mirror, going over some scriptures. I went into the pool for my workout in the pool. I was praying, going over scriptures. I was prioritizing God-given perspective as I went into this day and praying for you guys. This is going to be a special time of God's word igniting into our lives. A word for every day. A tape, I play on my courses there, the recording. Win the morning and you win the day. I love that. Win the morning and you win the day. Blessed is he, the person who listens, awake and ready, each morning and being responsive. That is powerful. That is a personal challenge. It really is. And start the day fresh. Every day I have that on my wall at home. Here's a challenge from Deuteronomy. This copy of the law shall be his constant companion. He must read from it every day of his life. Surprising the number of Christians and churches around there that do not read their Bible every day. You need to be an FBI student, faithful Bible investigator. You need to go to dig in, you eat your food, no problem in Malaysia, all right? You indulge as bulges, no problem on the physical side. Little snacks, big snacks, we look after the physical. But the key here is every day spiritually hitting and listening to your coach. That he'll learn to respect the Lord by his command, by obeying all his commands. And I have this one by my bedside. Gerald, our prayer here. Lord, lift me up and I'll be safe. Empower me, look at this, to live every moment in the light of your ways. Everybody said, amen. Well, that's a challenge. Look at that, brothers and sisters. If nothing else today, if you've got this challenge to add to your own personal lifestyle, Lord, empower me to live every moment in the light of your ways. Pray over your business, pray over your marriage, pray over your finances. That is an incredibly specific detail. Now I'm going to do something you've never done before. I have a number of course, my books and materials. I've got attitude cards. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a little. I want you just where you are right now to link up with a partner, just a partner. Just beside you, that's right. Right, but I want to make sure you've got a partner. It's all right. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a card. One of my print out packs, a corporate one here, and I'm going to give you one of these cards, every one of you one of these cards. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to hand these out to you. Can you help me? Go down there. So I want every person to have one card. All right? They're all different, by the way. They're all different. All right? We'll make sure every one of you have one of these cards. All right? All right, just check there. These are yours. All right, some more up here for run out. That's all right. All right. Everybody please to have at least one set of these cards here. Okay. We run out? Oh, sure, it's all good. Now, what I want you to do, we're going to do 3 1-minute little exercises. Number one, I'm going to give you 60 seconds to read your card, front and back, just quietly, and choose just one of the quotes that you like. So just 60 seconds, you can start that now. Then I'm going to give you just 1 minute to share that quote with your partner, what it means to you. And then after 1 minute, to your other partner, then to share their thought, 1 minute. So we're going to do, 3 1 minute, right? So 1 minute now, just to read the 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 quotes, front and back, and choose one that you particularly like. Okay. All right, now the partner on the left can start. Please, just for 60 seconds, read the quote that you like to your partner and express what that means to you. Share it with them, what that means to you. You run out. Just what it means to you. These are powerful, proactive thoughts. Right, now, swap over, just when you finish that, the other partner to share the thought that they think has been helpful and what it means.
No, you just pick one line like and explain why it's correct. Pick one.
Okay, you just hold it there for a minute. You've all been given, what you've been actually doing is giving each other a little motivational speech. You've been inserting and sharing something of a proactive thought that lifts, encourages. I tell you, these are powerful. That's why my motivational quote book has over 800 of those quotes that's out on my table there. These are selected ones. AIA Insurance several years ago, when they invited me to be there on their conference speakers to 1,200 of the insurance agents, and they ordered 1,200 of those packs, of those verses, which are in a little box I had, right in the box, and also my quotes book, 1,200 of them they ordered for the conference. Because once you, particularly in sales, everything, you've got to have that mind programmed. Because you deal with negative, restrictive people, problems and challenges. So these packs, by the way, you can keep that little card. It's like going to the doctor and saying, here's your prescription. I tell you what a difference it is. Sometimes I give out my quotes book to people at the pool, at the gym, or somewhere I meet, and they go, hey, I'm reading one of those every night before I go to bed. When I pull it out of my desk at the office, and I read a few each day, that's spiritually dynamic and motivationally uplifting. By the way, I have those packs. This is the first time I made them available out on my table for 25 ringgit. If you want to get the pack, then boy, they're so powerful. To have them around the house, in the office, wherever they are. Keep the one you've got, but I have a limited number of the packs out on the table there. And boy, they're worth every cent because it's encouraging and uplifting. So, proactive choices, moving from within. Now I want to share with you, to me, what is dynamically, basically the whole of the Bible is proactive. You come up the word arise. Arise, that's a proactive word. Get up and do something. God's proactive program. Look at the word arise. Starting something. Originating, all right? Emerging. Getting up, appearing, rising, standing up. In other words, and here at TNI, it's about helping one another, lifting one another, encouraging one another. And in other words, come out of something and into something. Lifting higher. This verse has been a significant, powerful, proactive verse, so much for me. Every year I ask the Lord for some personal Rhema verses that I print out, I put them on a cardboard, have them sitting around my diary or in the house. After I lost my first wife, when she was only 48, I came back from the hospital after. I lost her within 36 hours. She went in what seemingly was just a natural observation, and within 36 hours, I lost her. Very sudden, very traumatic. A very close-knit family, 3 sons. And then when I came back from the hospital, after the doctor pronounced my wife was dead, after the life support system was switched off, I drove back home and I walked into our room. There was all her clothes in the closet. There all her things round about. Now, no wife. I walked into the ensuite, and there was my printed out verses for that year. And the top of that list was this verse. Here's a man He's been lost his wife of 27 years of marriage, and now wondering what had happened all of a sudden, and I read these words, Gerald, arise from the depression and prostration in which circumstances have kept you. Rise to a new life. Shine, be radiant with the glory of the Lord, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. That so hit me in the state I was in that I'd never been in before. The lecturer, the teacher, the preacher, the motivator. Now I've been hit with something, the loss of my wife suddenly. And here the Bible says, Gerald, arise, get up. So this was a proactive challenge to a depressed state. So I want to share this scripture with you. There's been such an impact on my life over the years. Ladies and gentlemen, you face your outer world from your inner world. Doesn't matter what happens to you, wherever you go, whatever season in your life you're in, you're going to face that outer world from your inner world. And you can think just very briefly, David with Goliath. The outer world was a giant. Inside was the spirit that said, you cannot kill me, I can kill you, and I have the Lord God Almighty on my side. He was responding to Goliath from the inner man, when the outer circumstances were very big. Gideon, there with all the challenges that he had, out there hiding in a cave, and the angel of the Lord said, hey, you are a great man, a mighty man of valor. And so he switched from his inner and outer to realize how he could face the opposite army. And that was reduced to 300. Paul with the huge challenges in Romans 8. Shipwrecks, stoning, beatings, all these outward circumstances. What did he say? No. In all of these things I am more than a conqueror. So he responded to all that listing in Romans 8 of tragedies and circumstances from the inner there. John, there in 1 John 4, greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world, responding from the inner. And Jesus talking to the Pharisees, he said, you white painted sepulchres, you rotten bones on the inside, outwardly there you show what you think religiosity, inside corrupt and rotten, showing the outside and the inside. So brothers and sisters, it's so true. We all have a problem to face on this verse. From depression and prostration, which circumstances have kept you. We was chatting before about how failure is after we learn so much from failure, it hurts, and how we grow in those areas. The difficulties there. And here's a choice in the midst of those. Those who get hit down know how to bounce back. Notice that from the depression and prostration, brothers and sisters will all get hit and have been hit in those areas. It's life. How we respond to circumstances. Depression, feelings of severe despondency and dejection. Sadness, unhappiness, look at that list up there. Low spirits. We've all been through this area. But it's how we respond to it. Prostration is extreme physical or emotional exhaustion. I had a weightlifting title in my earlier days, so I've been doing a third year in physical education and teaching as well. And I always used to share my illustrations on the weightlifting ones that when you're coaching or you're having a coach and you're doing your repetitions, you're doing your training and you're struggling, you're hardly getting that weight up, and the coach says he slips another couple of pounds on either end. He said, Coach, I can hardly handle that. He puts another one on. And I always remember that was stretching almost beyond, because a coach knows that when your muscles are that maximum stretch, that's when the growth's taking place. I remember lying in a hospital for the first time in my life, just a week or 2 weeks after my Judy passed away, and they felt some pains in my chest, and somebody checked me out, put me in there for 10 of the toughest days of my life in the cardiac department there. And the challenge, and I remember when our conference of the evangelistic organisation, I was one of the directors in, came in to my bedside. They were having conference, about 10 or 12 of the evangelists, and around my bedside in the hospital, praying for me. And I remember thinking, Lord, I've just lost my wife. The doctors have said, somebody there, you're lucky to be alive yourself. I remember saying quietly in my spirit, Lord, I don't think I can be stretched any further. And that was in my early, at that stage I would have been very young, on my 27, 28. But the fact was, later on I realised that you do have times when you sometimes get hit very, very hard. That's the moment we're going to either react or respond. And as Christians, we've got the amazing God-given privileges and promises to respond. And that's why everybody is facing something. Doesn't matter who you are, if you're alive, stressed out. Dr. Martin Lloyd-Jones said something that some people find a little difficult. Most depression is caused by your listening to yourself rather than talking to yourself. Look at that. What that's saying is, listening to yourself can be really negative. But the moment you start to talk to yourself, talk to that mountain, take hold of God's scriptures and build it in, you're going to change the dynamic. That's very, very powerful. Be careful listening to yourself. Start talking to yourself. Talk to the mountain. Talk to it and take hold of the promises. You don't catch depression, you create it. Now that take a moment to think in on that one. You say, no, you don't know that caught no. It's how you responded to that situation that brought it on. Two same people can respond differently from the same problem or challenge. And the Bible challenges us to come out of our depression and frustration. There's a friend who had a friend who was always jovial, happy as lucky, he was always going to chuckle, but he met him some months later and he was depressed. He was so depressed, his friend was concerned because it was virtually ultra sadness, that chronic depression. He was really disturbed. The guy could get into suicide. And he heard that that guy, his friend, had taken out a lotto ticket. A lotto ticket, so you put money, might win a few $1 million there. And that following day, the result was coming out. It was $1 million for whoever won the lotto. So that day, this guy rang his friend and got him in the car. Hey, I know you've been on that lotto. Yeah, the depressed guy. Ultra panic depression. And he said, yeah. I want to tell you something. You've just won the $1 million. And he heard over the phone, woo, wow. He was sorry. He said, wow, he's be home in 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, the car squealed in. He jumped out of the car, ran into the house, and sat down and said, hey man, that you heard? Yeah, I won $1 million. Wow, how are you feeling? Fantastic. He said, sit down. Why? I can't sit down. Just tell you something. You actually didn't win the $1 million. You didn't win the lotto. Huh? He said, I want to tell you something. I said, this is a bit of a mean trick. How have you felt in the last 20 minutes? Fantastic. How do you feel now? Terrible. He said, I want to tell you something. You switched on both sides. And although that was a bit of a mean thing to do, I want you to realize that you do have a switch on the inside that can change that dynamic. And brothers, just we all do. And we have the promises and provisions of God to show us that. And how you respond to every situation, every day. No wonder David said, he talked to himself. By the way, it's okay to talk to yourself, as long as you don't get stupid answers back. Talking to yourself is very important that you talk it the right way. David was depressed. He said, hey, talking to himself, why are you discouraged? Why are you depressed? Why are you this? Look, but then, thank God, because he said, I'm talking to my inner self there. He said, hey, hold it. Hope in God. Wait expectantly. He's changed channels. Changed channels. Oh boy, depressed, it's a choice. So what is your restricting personal and professional success? In my book, one of my books, I have the outline of this one here. This is so good. Any medical doctor or psychologist could give you as good as this is where they'll come from. Trace it, face it, and replace it. Hey, that's a great workout. When something comes up, negative, look at it here. Trace it, face it, replace it. I have several pages in my book, the inner relief and release on that one. Who can tell me Psalm 23 verse 6? Psalm 23 verse 6, first hand. Psalm 23 verse 6. Psalms that's in the Bible. Psalm 23 verse 6, anybody tell me Psalm 20 without looking it up? I think it's in your Bible. Okay, well, I chose a really easy one, I thought that.
You need to remember verse 1.
Okay, that's all right. I was going to give a copy of the book, that's all right. All right, I'll give one more scripture, see if somebody locks on this one. Let's see how about
Psalm 23,
But-
verse 6.
Oh, you're looking at it. No, you've got to have it up here.
Okay, surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Well, you went the electronic way, but anyway, that's fair enough there. Tell you what, there, 2 or 3 pages of that are already in there, that one there. Copy, sir. All right. Trace it, face it, and there's 2 or 3 pages on the scriptural outline of that in there. And that's what you go to a doctor or a psychiatrist or something. Basically, they'll go through that outline. What's your problem?
What about fake it by faith?
Right.
Fake it by faith.
Fake it by make it. We'll make it by faith.
Fake it by faith.
Yeah.
Comfort what is not as though they were.
Good way to work it. So trace it, face it, replace it. And that's, as you go through the scriptures, you'll find that area there. But now look, here is Jesus, the coach. All right, saying right in the middle, hold on, I've told you these things so that in me you might have perfect peace and confidence. In the world you shall have tribulation, trials, distress and frustration. Look at that. That's the world news, the world program. There are 4 things. Tribulation, trials, distress and frustration. Every TV news program. Jesus says in the middle of that, hey, be of good cheer. Look at the switch here that Jesus makes. This has been one of our biggest challenges to me over these recent years. Gerald, I always put it in, Gerald, I've told you these things. In me, you have perfect peace and confidence. Then he said, be of good cheer. The Amplified says, take courage, be confident, certain, undaunted. I've overcome the world system. I've deprived it of power to harm you. I've conquered it for you. Gerald, that's my prescription for you every single day. And that's been one of the most powerful ones for me, particularly these recent years. And realising how the challenge, whatever season you're going through, just over 10 years since I've lost my second wife, and it's been a different season. Travelling the world, lecturing, teaching, ministering around the world, companies, businesses, some of the biggest places. There are companies like Sabic, biggest petrochemical company in the world, right, was brought in to do, had 120 managers for 6 days on employee empowerment in the middle of Saudi Arabia. Other places there, Dubai Police Department, one of the most sophisticated police forces in the world. I had a 5-day program with them there on developing peak performance teams. Now the privilege of building in these areas, and times and seasons change, but this one thing is, there, and the opposite in the dictionary of the word depression is cheerfulness. I was looking at it, hey, there it is. Jesus, whatever doctor you go to for depression, the antidepressants, here's Jesus' prescription. Guys, ladies, there, be of good courage. Look at it there. Take courage, be confident, have that every day. Spoken into your life, printed on the wall. I tell you what, it'll work amazing things in your life. This verse, Isaiah says, then gives us a choice. Arise. Get up! Get up! I chatted with somebody recently. They said, when you get older and things happen or you lose somebody, very easy to become insular and always hide yourselves. I don't want to go out. I don't want to meet people. Hey, and the very thing you're going to bury yourself. Now, I've had this challenge there. You wake up normally at night, you're overseas, no family, your family's scattered around the world. You wake up at night, no wife beside you there. All of a sudden, hey, you can dig an emotional hole. All right, here and overseas, a different place, nobody here, nobody but there. Hey, in the middle of that, Gerald arrives. There's the challenge. Proactive, connection and direction. That's what TNI does. So rise, hey, please look at the list there. This is what I want you to have every day of your life. Soar. Go up, get up, reach a higher level, make off, take off, fly up, increase, growth, upsurge, upswing, enlargement, climb. Hey, look at that. Is that encouraging? That's the challenge we have. And the opposite is to decrease, to reach to a higher level. And one of my favourite verses of my wife, when I get her to share in those days there, was Nehemiah 8:10. Do not, we often have the last part only. But here, do not be grieved, sorry and depressed. read the news, listen to some people's talk, and that's what will happen. You'll be grieved, sorry, and depressed. But there we have it. The joy of the Lord is your strength. So here we have one of the major case studies of the Bible. Caleb quieted the people before Moses and said, let us go at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. Here he is, young teeny bopper. Hold on, he's not a teeny bopper. He said, hey, I'm 85 and I'm as strong as I was at 40. Next month, March 25, I turn 85.
So that's the question.
I just turned the numbers, I'm 58. But the factor is there, hey, when I read this again, I thought, hey, Caleb, I'm in the Caleb Club. Woo, 85. Texing just had his birthday a few days ago. 76, is that right, brother? 76? He's concentrating. Right. Hey, it doesn't matter what age you are, you've got to get hold of this. Now look, here's a bit of a case study. Caleb seized the opportunity at 85. And he said, give me this mountain. Not an old people's home. He said, give me this mountain. Not a geriatric rumba. Hey, don't get me seen. Hey, he changed the attitude in his mind and made a proactive physical thing. Give me this mountain. At 85, he was still growing and grabbing the future. How do you like that? 85, still grabbing the future. Caleb wasn't, he was grabbing the future. How old are you? 85. I was a taxi driver just a few weeks ago, came back and he looked at me. He said, excuse me sir, how old are you? By the way, culture, in the European or British culture, you never ask a person normally their age, particularly a woman. It's not cultural. Come to Malaysia and anybody will ask you. Kids, taxi drivers, how old are you sir? No problem. So Europeans are not really used to it. But this taxi driver, excuse me sir, he said, how old are you? And I said, I'm 84. He nearly stalled the car. He looked in the rear vision mirror, because of the back seat there. He said, I don't believe you. I said, I am. He said, I don't believe you. I said, Now, whatever it is, the factor is your life and lifestyle has got so much to do with so many things. Here's Caleb saying, when he could have been comfortable retirement, by the way, the word retirement is not in the Bible. You don't retire, you refire. And one of the definitions in Arabic of the word retire is dying while sitting down. It's one of the definitions in Arabic of retire. Dying while you're sitting down. And
tired again, retired.
yeah. So you don't retire, you retire. Now that's a choice. You know, so many people retire up here in their 50s. That's okay as long as you get into something active again and keep moving, keeping mobile. That's fine. And he was out fighting giants and claiming mountains. How do you like that? When his friends were yawning, he was yearning. I love that. Every time the sun came up, it was a new adventure for him. Rather than up here, where's my teeth? Where's my hey, Lord, it's a new day. It's a new day. Let's get going. And so he finally comes up and says in this scripture here, Gerald, shine, be radiant with the glory of the Lord. This doctor was one of the great doctors of the famous Mayo Clinic. He was inspired to begin his career as a doctor when he was a little boy living in Minnesota. His brother was critically ill and his parents had called for a doctor. The doctor went into the boy's room and asked the parents to stay outside. He recalled seeing his mother and father's faces so strained with fear and worry. When the doctor came out of my brother's room, he looked at each of us for a minute and then his face broke into a smile. He said, you can relax, folks. He's going to be all right. Then I saw a light come into my mum and dad's faces. And there I decided that when I grew up, I was going to be a doctor because I wanted to put a light in other people's faces. Guys, there's your calling. Matthew 5:16, let your light so shine from whatever area you're involved in. And the wonderful thing about Matthew 5:14 in the message says, you are here to bring out the God colours in the world. Isn't that love? You walk into an office, you smile, your dress, your contact, your attitude. Hey, it lights up the room, brings a blessing, bringing the God colours into that place. I love it. And then finally, that one verse, a great blessing to receive, for your light is come. And this morning, as I was on the outside, there's an outside gym area, swinger there, and the sun was just coming up. And I was going over, I was on the outdoor swinger there, going over Isaiah 58. Gerald, then your light has come. It breaks forth like the morning. And your healing and restoration shall spring forth speedily. And your righteousness shall go before you, peace and prosperity, and the glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. And it started with, then your light, your life, your ministry, shall break forth like the morning. And the sun was just coming through the palm trees, over the condo area and into the pool. And the Lord, hey, what a privilege. Dark, midst world, shine as bright. And the Message translation says this. This is what I want to pray over every one of you as you go out here today. This prayer of this, look at this. I want to pray over every one of you here. I'm going to read it out. Go out into the world uncorrupted, a breath of fresh air in this swallowed and polluted society. Provide people with a glimpse of good living and of the living God. Carry the light-giving message into the night. What a package as a God-given one in our lives today. There it is. It's a whole sermon, a message in itself, and particularly to be a breath of fresh air as you go out. And so surround yourself with confidence builders, not confidence busters. That's why TNI is such a great environment to be in. Here you are with confidence builders. I love that. And the key is all having a fresh mental and spiritual attitude. So there, that one, Isaiah 60 verse 1. Circumstances, depression, prostration, arise to a new life, shine, the light has come. Hey, there's our challenge, brothers and sisters. And finally, this gentleman, when he was 7 years of age, he went to school, and his teacher, her name was Miss Phillips, just remember that name, Miss Phillips, told him he would never amount to anything. He was a no-hoper. Now look at the background. Daniels came from a disadvantaged background, was challenged with illiteracy, that's reading and writing. This is so unusual, he's from Australia. Australia and New Zealand have some of the highest educational categories and cultures in the world. And here, if somebody that can't read or write, is unbelievable. But here, he couldn't, had difficulty. His family was third-generation welfare recipients. He had 2 alcoholic brothers, 4 fathers, 2 mothers. Many of his relatives had been in jail. He failed in every grade in school and became a bricklayer. But at 26 years of age, he was hopelessly in debt, and he attended a Billy Graham crusade in May 2559, and he attributes his life change and subsequent success to that meeting. I met him in Auckland some years ago when he came with his seminars. This was one of the most disciplined guys I have ever met. He started reading, and over 6 years he read 6,000 biographies. Went into business 3 times, failed each time, avoiding bankruptcy, but subsequently managed to build a large real estate business in Australia and Southeast Asia, and served as a director and chairman on a range of international boards. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale at that time classified him as the best speaker in the world. And that guy could hardly read or write. Something dramatically, transformationally happened. That man, he's written over 13 books, and one of the books, what was his teacher's name? Well, look, one of his first books. Miss Phillips, you were wrong. Some of you here could have a Miss Phillips in your life. A parent, a mother, a father, a teacher, an uncle, and auntie that somewhere along the line said you are no good, you're useless, you'll never make it, and you've got a Miss Phillips in your life. I'll tell you today, you're going to let go and say, Miss Phillips, you were wrong. I am more than a conqueror in Jesus. You've got to get rid of the Miss Phillips in your life because they're all around the place. And there are some of his books. This one down here, the one, he's sitting on a gold Rolls Royce. Now why I noticed that? Because he was on the board of directors from the OAC Ministries, and I was a director in New Zealand. I was across in Australia doing some lecturing with them there, and he was on their board of directors. And one of my fellow directors there, it was his birthday. And Peter Daniels rang him up and said, hey, Ryan, I know it's your birthday, or Thelma's birthday, his wife, And I want you to loan you the gold Rolls Royce for the weekend. I've left some chocolates in the glove cupboard there. It's yours for the weekend, birthday special. Very generous man, Peter Daniels. I had the privilege of meeting. Now what amazed me was, for that guy from one of the worst backgrounds in a European setup that I've ever seen, came to be this impacted man. Something happened, transformation, you've been born again, the building in the principles of God. A couple of quotes. You must accept that you can change, and that a pattern of provincial principles adhered to and used repeatedly will not only direct your life, but change it permanently. Look at this. Life is not a dress rehearsal. Every day is an opening night. How do you like that? Every day is an opening night. So take time, action, go in. The challenge. By the way, we're living in a spectator world. You see a big soccer match somewhere there, you have 50 or 60,000 people in the stand telling 22 people what to do. Spectators or participators? And in the Christian world today, we've got a lot of spectators, but we don't have too many participators. That's the proactive Bible discipleship there. The people who know their God are spiritually mature, will display strength, do exploits, take action. And so that's why Picasso said, action is the foundation to all success. And Anthony Robbins said, what changes your life is not learning. What changes your life is making decisions and using your personal power and taking action. And Huxley powerfully said, the great end of life is not knowledge, but action. This is the power tool to your success. So brothers and sisters, create 2026 your proactive year for miracle breakthroughs. That's why I've got some of my packs. I've only got a few of the packs left. They've been purchased, but also I've got this special pack today. They are normally 180. These are the proactive steps that God's taught me that I've passed on to other people. And that pack of verses out there, for the first time I brought them, they're out on the table at a limited number for 25 ringgit. That is dynamically encouraging and uplifting me. So here at TNI, to encourage, equip, connect and mentor one another in the business world with vital, transformational Christian dynamics. That is the challenge, and it's the Bible that gives you our proactive success. So brothers and sisters, activate your God-given proactive priorities 2026.